Hey guys, welcome to day 2 of our mini challenge in collection framework. I hope the learning has started. Have you completed the tasks of day 1? If so, please share it in the comment section or in our private community. I am eagerly waiting for it. This mini series is completely about task-based learning. In the end of this video also, I will be sharing 10 tasks based on the learning that you are doing in this video. I hope this will excite you. Now, let us get started. Okay, these are the topics that we will be discussing in this particular video. What is list? The list implementation classes, example of array list, why we need to use generics, sorting the elements of an array list using collections.sort, using iterator and ListIterator, examples of that, example of using linked list and PriorityQueue. At the end of all these learnings, I will be sharing you the tasks that you need to complete for day 2. Okay. What is list? List is an interface from java.util package. It is a sub-interface of collection framework. It is an ordered collection. The elements can be added or removed based on the index. This behaves like a variable size array. List accepts duplicates. List also accepts null values. Okay. Now, let us discuss about the implementation classes of list interface. They are ArrayList, LinkedList and Vector. Vector is a legacy class. So, in this video, we will be discussing only about ArrayList and LinkedList. What is ArrayList? ArrayList is an ordered collection. It is like a variable size array. Whenever you are adding elements, it will expand. When you remove the elements, it will shrink. ArrayList can accept null values and also it can accept duplicates. Okay. Now let us see an example of ArrayList. Guys, I will directly explain the underlying concepts of ArrayList, why we need to use generics, how to iterate it, all those informations while doing it practically in Eclipse. Let me open Eclipse. Okay, I am in a brand new workspace. Let me create a new Java project. Either you can select it from here or go to File, New, Other, search for Java, Java project, click Next. Let me give the project name as util examples and click Finish. Now let us create a new class. Select src, right click, new class. Let me give the package name as com.srishti.listdemos and let me give the class name as ArrListDemo. Select public static void main, click Finish. Guys, please be very careful in the naming convention of the class. Don't give the class name as ArrayList. If you do that, while creating an object, it will not look into the ArrayList of util package. It will look into your class and it will create an object for your class only. Why I am explaining this? Because I have seen this mistake done by many people during the training. So be careful with that. Let me increase the font size. Okay. Now, first let us create an object of ArrayList. ArrayList list is equal to new ArrayList. Import ArrayList. It is from java.util package. Most of you would have learned about generics. You know that we need to use an angle bracket and provide the specific data type. But I just want to explain why we should do it and what is the purpose of it. What is the size of this array list? At this point, the size is 0. Let us print it. So, list dot, the method is size. Okay. Now, I want to add few elements to this list. This list is like a variable size array. So, you can add any type of element to this list. Remember, it should not be primitive data types. Now, let me start adding it. List.add. See, it is taking object as parameter. So within which let me pass my name Priya. Then let me add. It is expecting an object. So I am passing 10. What is 10? 10 is a primitive data type. Then how can I pass 10? 10 automatically will be converted from a primitive value into an object. That is a wrapper class object. This concept is called as auto boxing. So whatever you are seeing over here is not the int value 10 but integer value 10. Okay. The next line, let me add a double value 200.8 and let me add a boolean value true. Let me also add an object of this class itself, list.add new ARR list demo. Now we have added few elements to this list. You are seeing an yellow line. This means it is a warning. It's not an error, it is a warning. It says that something may happen during the runtime. Now let us not bother about it. Let us try to print this list. So let me print the list directly. Can you print an array directly? It is not possible. Explicitly you need to specify the index. But in case of a list it is not required. Now let us also print the size of this list. Save and run. Let me pull the console up. Here you can see the output. It is printing Priya 10 200.8 and also it is printing the hash code value of this particular object. Okay. This is fine. What if I want to iterate through this list? So for that we are having three choices. Either I can use Iterator or ListIterator or for each. Let us first start with Iterator. What is Iterator? This also is an interface. This is also from java.util package. It is expecting generics. I am not going to provide anything. Iterator it is equal to, there is a method of list through which I can get the iterator object. So the method is list.iterator. You can see it over here, list.iterator. Let me click on iterator interface. It has got few methods, has, next, next, remove and so on. That's okay, fine. Now let me come back. How to iterate through this iterator? First let me explain it through the pictorial representation, then we will come back here. I have few elements in my list, Priya 10 200.8 true and a hash code value com dot something something. I want to iterate through the elements one by one and I want to print it. So we are using iterator. What is iterator? Iterator is like a pointer. It will point before the list. When you write iterator, it is equal to list.iterator, all the elements in the list are passed on to the iterator. Iterator points before the first element of this list. Now I have to iterate and check whether there is a next element. So we have to check whether there is a next element. So we will use while it dot has next. If there is a next element available, it is checking. If this is true, then I can retrieve this element using a method it.next. What is the return type? What we are passing is an object. So what I will get also is an object. Object O is equal to it.next. Then I can print the object. I'll close the curly braces. Now what happens? The first object Priya is printed. Then again it will go to the while loop. It will check whether the next element is available. Yes. Get the next element. Print it. Then check for the next element. Yes. Print it. Then check for the next element. Yes. Print it. Then check for the next element. Yes. Print it. Now after printing the last element, it goes back to the while loop. It is checking whether there is next element. There is no element available, so it will come out of this while loop. Okay, this is fine. Here it prints perfectly fine. But what is our requirement? I want to convert the elements in my list into uppercase. I assume the list is having only string values. So I want to convert it into uppercase. So instead of writing this line, I can change this line as it.next. What I am expecting is a string value, string str. You all know this is an object. I cannot directly retrieve it using string. So explicitly I need to do a downcast. After doing a downcast, system.out.println str.toUppercase. So these are the two lines now we have added to this particular while loop. Now what will happen? I will explain it from the code also, but before that we will see it here. First time it will come and check whether the first element is available. Yes, Priya. It will come here. The object is downcasted to a string which is Priya. I am trying to convert it into uppercase. So I will get Priya in uppercase properly. Then again it is going to the while loop. It is checking whether the next element is available. Yes, that is 10. 10 is integer. Now in this line you are trying to convert an integer object into a string object. Is it possible? You cannot do that. You can upcast your integer into object or downcast object into integer if it is of the same type. You can upcast long into object. If they are in the same hierarchy, only then upcasting and downcasting can happen. But in case of string and integer, they are in the same level. They are like peers. How can you do the conversion? So, in this particular line, you will get an exception. Class cast exception. Let us check it out. Now, let me use the while loop. While it dot has next. The next line, let me use the method it dot next. See the return type, it's an object. So let me get it in a variable of type object only. The next line, let me print it. So, let me add a dummy println statement here. In this case also, you will not get any error or any exception. So it's printing one by one all the elements in the list. Now what I want, what is my requirement? I want to convert my string into uppercase. So if I change this side, string str, I am getting an error. Why? Because what you are getting here is an object. You are trying to convert it into a string. It is providing you an option. Guys, everybody does that. The moment you get an error, what you do? You keep the cursor here. You try to rectify the error by the solutions provided by the IDE. So what I am doing, I am trying to select the first solution. And here I will change it to str.toUppercase. Now what happens? The error is gone. When you run this application, it will come and print the first element in uppercase because it is of type string. What about the next one? It is 10. It is of type integer. In this particular line, you will get class cast exception. Let me run this. First it is printing Priya in uppercase. Then it is throwing the exception. Java.lang.classCast exception. In which line? Line number 23. Okay, so this is the problem. That is why they introduce generics in picture. What is the advantage of using generics? When you use generics, you are explicitly providing the type that this particular list can use. Generics is used for compile time safety. You need to understand this point. So, to use generics, use angle bracket string. On the other side, just two angle brackets are enough. The moment I added generics, the warning is gone in line number 9 and also in line number 11. What about the other lines? They are all giving errors. This means you are not supposed to add a int value or boolean or any other data type other than string. So that is called as generics. Generics is used for compile time safety. Please remember this. Let me explain this with a simple example. Assume you get a flyer which says that there is an orchestra music party happening in an auditorium. This is by a famous pop singer, and this guy is your favorite. But the auditorium is very far away from your place. Somehow you want to go to this party. So what you do is you gather all your friends and you are coming to this party. The moment you enter into the auditorium, the security is not allowing you to enter into the auditorium. The reason he is giving is this party is only for college students. If you want to go to this particular orchestra, you need to carry your ID card. Will you carry your ID card everywhere? No. And if you are a working professional, then it is not possible for you to enter into this music party. You get disappointed. This is the same scenario for our Java application also. Just now what we have seen. When I am just creating an array list, this array list says you can add any type of item. So I am adding a string, I am adding an integer object, a double object, a boolean object and a custom object. Now this array list looks cool and fine. I have completed my application. I have literally written some 300 to 400 lines of code and I have created an array list. I really don't know where exactly that location is. But during the runtime, while running the application, when someone is trying to perform an operation on this array list, they are getting class cast exception. When? Not during the compile time, but during the runtime. Means all the way after completing the code, it compiled fine, but during the runtime when it is throwing an exception, it is a big disaster. So how this can be rectified? Now this is actually a flyer. In this flyer, if this music party people have written one single line, please note or please see, only for college students with ID card. If you are a college student, what you will do? You will take your ID card and go. And if you are not a college student, if you are a working person, then you will not even think of going to that particular party. Correct? So this is the scenario. I am just giving you a warning or I am just giving you an information beforehand itself saying that this particular party is only for college students. Okay. Same way in our application also, what we can do is we can explicitly specify the type using angle bracket. This is called as generics. You might be wondering why it is called as compile time safety. During the compile time itself, it will not allow any other data type value to be added to the array list. By this way, you are avoiding unnecessary exception. I hope this is clear. So, what is the purpose of generics? Generics is used for compile time safety. During the compile time itself, if you are trying to add any other element other than this, automatically it will throw an error, compiler error. That is why when you are seeing buses, explicitly they write the board as ladies only, disabled, old people, pregnant ladies. The reason saying it is only for that particular category. Now let me go back to the code. We will modify the code slowly. Now let me start adding only string values. Okay. There are few more methods of list. Let us see one or two methods. First is I want to change the name in index 2. For that, the method that you have to use is set. It is asking for the position and the element. Okay. The index in array list also starts with 0, 0, 1, 2. Okay, I will change it to index 1. In index 1, I will replace Joe with Kavita. Yes. Fine. Now again, let me print the list. The next thing is, I want to insert a name in index 1. Now, this time also, we will use the same add method. Let me give control space. We are using the overloaded method of add, which also accepts index. So in index 1, I want the value to be Bobby. Okay. Now let us see the result. In this case, the output will be Priya, Joe, Rahul. Now, after changing the name in index 1, the result will be Priya, Kavita and Rahul. Set will change. Add will insert. Now, in this case, what will be the output? The output will be Priya, Bobby, Kavita, Rahul. Okay. Now again, we will try to print the list, print the size. How to retrieve a particular element? The method is get. This returns a value, so I can call it within println statement directly. But anyways, list.get, pass the index. Let me give the index as 2. The return type, see the return type. Explicitly we have specified the array list should accept only string values. So automatically the return type is a string. Okay, let me cut it and I will add it within println statement. And is it okay to add number like this? Is it allowed? Yes, because the moment you give it within double quotes, this means that it is a string only. Let us print the list again. I will comment this part. First let us run it. Run. So as we checked, Priya, Joe, Rahul. Joe is replaced by Kavita. Bobby is inserted at index 1. The size, and I am trying to use get method. At index 2, the value is Kavita. And in the last line, I am trying to add 100. 100 within double quotes. Guys, you cannot perform any numerical operations on 100. Now let us move on to the next one. We will try to iterate it. Let us first start with Iterator again. For Iterator also we need to provide the generic type, which is string. Now when you use it.next method, you can see the return type. Automatically it is showing it as string, because what I added is only string values. So it will return me a string value only. String str is equal to str dot to uppercase. Guys, we have learned that list can accept duplicates. So I will just copy this and I will add it again. Let me save this and run it. The iterator also ran successfully. The values are printed in uppercase and it is also printing Rahul twice. List can accept duplicates. Okay, now one more thing. I can also add null values. Let me give list.add null. Be very careful. You are trying to call to uppercase. In this case, it will throw null pointer exception. So let me remove to uppercase. Run this. Pull the console up. See the output. We have got null also. Fine. So this is about iterator. Now let us see how to use ListIterator. What is the difference between iterator and ListIterator? Iterator is used only for forward access. ListIterator can be used for both forward and backward access. Meaning to say that when you use iterator, you have to start from the first element, come down till the last element. But if you are using ListIterator, you can start from the first to the last, middle to the last, or from last element to the first element. It means that both forward and backward access. Let me use ListIterator. Pass the generic type string iterator equal to list dot. This time let us do backward access. That is, we will start from the last element and move up to the first element. If you notice, there are two methods of ListIterator. The first one does not take any parameter. It means you can use it for forward access. The second one takes index as parameter. So you need to specify from where this ListIterator has to start. So I will select the second one. In this case, I need to provide the position of the last element so that I can start from the last element. So how to identify it? If I give list.size, it will show the position of the last element. List.size. Now let us use a while loop. Before that, let me show you the methods of ListIterator. Has next, next, has previous and previous. So in this case, now my iterator is pointing to the last element. I have to check whether there is a previous element available and I have to move upwards. So you have to use while iterator dot has previous. I hope it is clear. We are pointing to the last element. If I give has next, after the last element there are no element available. So it will not even enter into the while loop. So I have to check for has previous. It means it will move from its position and check whether there is a previous element available. That is going to be our last element which is there. Then from the last element, the second last element. From the second last element, third last element. Likewise, it will move up to the first element. String str is equal to iterator dot previous. So str. Now let us run this. Here you can see the output. The first one forward access, the second one is backward access. And you can see here the elements are ordered by index. Now let us see how to iterate our array list using for each. You all know how to use the legacy for each. You can also use that legacy for each to iterate through the array list. Why? Array list is like an array only. For colon the array list name. It is list. The data type of this is string str. Now, okay. So in this case it is only forward access. Let me run this. Okay, here we have got the output. Now, what if I want to sort the elements in this list? So for that, we will be using a static method of collections class. Collection is an interface, collections is a class. We will be using the static method of that. Let me add that particular line above for each. Let me give it as collections.sort by passing the list. My dear guys, our array list is not having custom objects, but it is having string, which is an inbuilt data type. In case of string, it implements comparator and comparable, which means the elements can be sorted. It is providing the option for that. So, you can sort the elements of your array list if it is using string or integer or double or character or boolean, any inbuilt data type. If you are using custom object, it is mandatory that you need to provide the implementation properly. In the next video, we will be discussing on that. Okay. Now, remember, I told you this list is of type string. Then it can sort only string elements. If you try to add null, it will throw null pointer exception. Let me run this and show it to you. Pull it up. It is printing everything, but the moment it reaches line number 43, it is throwing an exception. Line number 43. Can you see it? So what I can do, I will remove null. Comment this. Let me run it again. Now automatically the elements will be sorted. Numbers first, then capital letters, then lowercase. This is all about array list. Now let us move on to linked list. What is linked list? Linked list is an ordered collection. It has got a set of elements in which each element has a link pointing to the predecessor and its successor. That is, each node points to the next node by a pointer. Linked list implements list interface and queue interface. This means you can make linked list behave like a stack or like to perform operations like LIFO, FIFO and so on. The elements can be added in a linked list either in front or at the end of the collection. That is, it has got specific methods for that, add first and add last. Linked list can be used for faster iteration. Guys, the difference between ArrayList and linked list is, use ArrayList if you want to do a faster retrieval. That is, suppose if there are 50 people standing in a line, I want to call a particular person, means I can call them by index. Person standing in position 10 come out. Person standing in position 20 come out. So, ArrayList can be used for faster retrieval. If I want to add people to a queue, rather than disturbing the index, I can either add them to the first or add them to the last. So, linked list can be used for faster insertion and ArrayList can be used for faster retrieval. Here also you can use Iterator, ListIterator and for each to iterate the elements and print it. Now let us see an example of linked list. Select your package, right click, new class, link demo. Select public static void main, click finish. Create an object of linked list. Let me add the generic type as string. List is equal to new linked list. Let us add few elements. List.add. Now let me use the second method. Add in index 1. Add Kevin. Then list.add first. Guys, you can see that this is a specific method to linked list. Bobby. So what will be the output in this line if I try to print the list? This will be the order. Now again there are methods like add last. So the output here will be with David in the last. In this case also you can use an iterator and list iterator to iterate through the elements. I will copy it from the previous one. Let me use iterator only. Let me give a different name for this. Linked. I am changing the object name. Here you can see the output as we have discussed. Okay, here also you can use collections.sort. One important thing that I want to tell you is, because linked list is implementing list interface, we have used add method. Linked list also implements queue interface. There are few methods from queue interface that I can use for working with list. Let me just click on linked list. Here you can see deque. Deque is a sub interface of queue interface. Let me click on deque. Then click on queue. Okay, there are few methods in queue interface. Just have a look into it. I will explain it with a pictorial representation. There is an add method, then offer method, remove, poll, element and peek. Let me open the canvas. So these are the methods that we have seen in queue interface. One is offer, poll and peek. The equivalent methods of list can be add, remove and element. To start with, what is the use of add and offer? Both are used for adding element into a list. What is the difference between them? If you are using add method, then it will throw an exception. If you are trying to add element into an immutable list. In case of offer, it will return a special value. That is the difference. It means this fellow throws exception. What is the use of remove and poll? Both of them will return the head element and removes that. What is the difference between both of them? If you try to call remove on an empty list, it will throw no such element exception. But poll will return a special value which is null. Okay. What is the use of element and peek? Both of them will return the head element, but it will not remove the head element. Okay. What is the difference? Again, it is the same case. If you call element method on an empty list, it will throw no such element exception. Peek will return a special value. So that is the difference. When you are using linked list, you can also use the method of queue interface. Queue Queue interface is comparatively better because rather than throwing an exception, it is providing you with null values. If you want to know more about queue interface, you can go to the Java documentation that I have shown you in the previous video. So go there, looking for queue interface, you will get the details properly. Similar to queue interface, there is deque interface. Under deque interface, there are special methods. Deque means what? Double-edged queue. So you have methods as add first, add last, remove first, remove last, offer first, peek last. So there are few other special methods available in deque interface. You can go and check it out. Now we will try few of the methods in the example that we have seen now. Okay. Let me comment this. And first step is I want to use offer method. Linked.offer. See the methods. There are 3 overloaded methods available. The last 2 are from deque interface. Let me use offer first. Then let me call linked.poll. Retrieves and removes the head element. This method has to return the element and remove that element. Poll. So let me add a println statement here. Linked.poll. Same way we will try with remove. Retrieves and removes the head element of this list. Okay. After that I want to see the elements in this linked list. Okay. Similar to that we will try with peek also. What is the use of peek method and what is the use of element method? Now let me run this. I'll pull the console to the left hand side. We will start with the first output. Offer first I have given. So it has changed the sequence also. Then when you call poll, it returns and removes the first element. When you call remove, it returns and removes the first element. Again, what about the other 2 case, peek and element? It is returning but it is not removing the elements. Guys, now I want to see the exception that may occur when I am using remove an element method. So for that, I will comment these 3 lines. Okay. Now let me run this. Now let us see what is the real output. Here I have added Raju. Next is offer first. So it is printing in this line as Shakti and Raju. When I call poll, the first element is returned and it is removed. When I call remove, the next element is returned and that also is removed. When I call peek, the list is empty. Can you see this? In this line the list is empty. So it is returning me a null value. Now again I am trying to print the list is empty. Then when I am trying to call element, it is throwing no such element exception. In which line? Line number 33. I hope this is clear. When you are trying to call element on an empty list, it is throwing no such element exception. Same way in this case also it will happen. I will comment this line. So when you call poll, the first element is returned and it will be removed. In this line the list will be empty. Just to check it out, let me add a dummy println statement also. Checking. Now let me run this. So it is first printing Raju. When you call poll, it is returning the head element Raju and removing that element. So in this line the list is empty. You are trying to call remove on an empty list, it throws exception. In which line? Line number 29. Okay. So I hope this is clear about linked list. Whatever I am showing here is just to understand the concept and how to use linked list and array list. When to use linked list, when to use array list, based on the project that you need to decide. If you want to do faster insertion of values, then go in for linked list. If you are retrieving data from the database and then you want to send it to the front end, then use array list. Okay. Let me also show you an example of PriorityQueue. This is just for your understanding only. Now let me select the package, right click, new class. Give the class name as QDemo. Select public static void main, click finish. The class name is PriorityQueue. Now let us create an object of PriorityQueue. PriorityQueue is used for first in first out operations. Queue is equal to new PriorityQueue. Then you can add elements using the methods of queue interface. Dot. You can use add method. Let me add one more E. Then you can use offer method. Okay. See here, do you have methods as offer first, offer last? No, because PriorityQueue is used only for first in first out operation. If you are working with linked list, you can make it behave like first in first out, last in first out, or any way you want. Okay, I can use offer and then now print the queue. Here also you can use a for each to iterate through the elements. Use a for each, name and CISO, a name. That's all. Remember, I missed out one thing. PriorityQueue comes under queue interface. Okay. List set queue. Here we have learned about the implementation classes of list. I am also giving you an example of queue interface. That's all. This is just for your learning purpose. You can also use Iterator and ListIterator to iterate through the elements of PriorityQueue. Okay. What we have learned is what is a list, what are the list implementation classes, example of ArrayList, why we should use generics, how to sort the elements using collections.sort, how to use Iterator and ListIterator with ArrayList. We have seen an example of linked list. We have also used the methods of queue interface with linked list. We have seen a simple example of PriorityQueue. Okay. Now this is task time. I am just going to share you the questions for the task that you need to do after completing this video. Once you have finished this task, please do share the results in the comments or in our community. All the tasks that you are going to do today are programmatic. Okay, guys, now it is task time. I have given two sets of questions. The first set is a list with 10 string values. That is, you can work with 10 names. The second set is with 10 integer values. Okay. Let me come to the first set. First question. This is a conceptual question. Which type of collection is best to retrieve the name in an index? The method to get the name in index position 5. The method to change the name in index position 2. Okay. After that, get the names that has the character A, store those names in a different list, sort them and print it. See guys, whatever you have done with the array, we are trying to do it over here. Next question. Remove the names that start with a specific letter S from a list, convert to uppercase, sort them and print it. Next question. Iterate through the names and get the names that ends with E. Remove the duplicates, store them in a different list. Print only the last two elements. Okay. The last question. Reverse each element in the list. If it is Priya, it has to be reversed. If it is David, it has to be reversed. After reversing them, print the names in a sorted manner. Okay. After reversing the name, my name will come first because it starts with A. Fine. Now let us move on to the next set. In the second set also, the first one is a concept based question. Which type of collection is best to insert a number in first position? Which method throws exception if the list is empty? Which method returns a special value if the list is empty? What exception is thrown if the list is empty? These are all one-liners. Okay. Then coming down. Iterate through the list. Get only the even numbers. Store in another list. Give the name of that list as even numbers. Don't give us temporary list, temp list. No. Even numbers. Sort the numbers and print it. Iterate through the list. Get the square of each number. Check if the number is less than 500. If yes, store those numbers in a list. Give the name of the list as square number. Sort them and print it. Okay. The next one. Iterate through the list. Calculate the sum and average of numbers and print it. Okay. The last one, iterate through the list, remove the duplicate numbers and print it in descending order. Fine. Actually, we are doing sorting, that's all. The last question is a bonus question. Create a linked list with single characters. So these are the characters. And make it behave as LIFO, last in, first out. That is, the output that I want to see is grade day. I have given it in reverse order. I hope these questions are clear. They are from easy to medium level only. I will share these questions in the description box. What you need to do is, after you have completed, you can share the answers in the comments, or if you need support or guidance, if you want to collaborate with your equal group, you can join my private community. I have shared the link of that community also in the description box. As always, keep learning, stay curious. Let us learn, code, grow together. Thank you.